In this video, I'm going to give a brutally honest review of all the June BTO projects and share what are the pros and cons to help you decide. But before we go into the details, let me just give you a top-line summary of which project I think is the winner for each category. If you are wondering which BTO project will produce million-dollar resale flats in the future, my vote goes to Holland Vista with Tanjung riverfront as the runner-up. If you are looking for a more affordable option, the winner goes to Chencharu Hills and the runner-up is Marsiling Peak. But which one is the best buy and most value for money? The winner is tampines greentopaz. Why? Because it is located in a mature estate, but yet still comes with the standard 5-year MOP because it is launched now instead of in the next batch. As you know, this batch will be the very last BTO launch before the new Plus classification with the 10-year MOP comes into effect. Now, let's discuss each project in detail. Let's discuss about the Tanjung Riverfront 1 and 2 BTO project. This new BTO project sits right by the Kallang River with views that will definitely boost the resale value in the future. There will be over 2,000 units, including 2-room flexi flats, 3-room flats, and also 4-room flats. The buildings will be between 8 to 29 floors tall, designed to give most apartments a nice view of the river or the green spaces in between the buildings. Overall, the area feels very affluent because it has a lot of high-end condos, with some of them priced at around $2 to $4 million. However, do note that this location is actually quite a remote area. There are 2 new MRT stations in the area, Tanjung MRT and also Katong Park MRT. However, it will still be around 1 kilometer walk or around 3 bus stops away to either MRT station. If you look at the map, this BTO is also somewhat close to the East Coast Park if you like an active lifestyle. Amenities are still limited in this area, which is why the project itself allocates space for commercial and community use. There will be a preschool for young kids, a residence center for community events, restaurants, a supermarket, and even shops, all right there within the development. Plus, there's plenty of parking with rooftop gardens and viewing decks, offering even more river views. As predicted, this project is offered under the prime location public housing model, so it comes with a 10-year MOP, cannot rent out the whole flat even after MOP, subsidy clawback, and a bunch of other restrictions. In terms of price, a 4-room flat starts at $568,000 excluding grants. For comparison, the transacted price of nearby resale flats is already above $800,000 and some even over $1 million. Despite of the PLH model restrictions, I think the owners of a 4-room flat here can probably sell the flat after MOP for double the price, especially if they have a high floor unit and facing the water. Here's an illustration of a 4-room payment plan that HDB gave. So they said a typical 4-room flat here will cost around $675,000 and that buyers with income around 8.4K to 9.8K per month should be able to afford the flat comfortably. Before you say, that's so expensive, again, remember that the comparable HDB resale price is around double of that. And if you compare it with the condos nearby, the difference is even more significant because some of the condos around this area can cost $2 to $4 million easily. Interestingly, this project still offers a 3-room flat, which is subjected to PLH model restrictions as well, same as the 4-room flat. Based on the application rate of past PLH BTO projects, typically 3-room doesn't get as much interest as their 4-room counterpart, mainly because obviously 3-room is smaller but yet subjected to the same strict rules. So, if you really want to get a flat here, you have a higher chance of getting a good ballot number if you apply for the 3-room flat. For your reference, here's the price range for a 3-room flat and its comparison with the nearby HDB resale flats. If we look at the payment plan illustration, obviously, the cost is more manageable, but again, do note that even a 3-room flat will fall under the PLH model restriction. Not only that it will have the 10-year MOP, you also can't rent out the whole flat even after the MOP has ended. So, you should think about your family planning and see whether a 3-room flat is suitable for you. If you are keen on 2-room flexi flats, this project also offers 2 types. The main difference is the size. For seniors above 55 years old, you can even opt to buy the flat with a short lease. Note that if you buy a 2-room with a short lease, in the future you cannot sell it in the open market. Now, let's take a closer look at the site plan. For the Tanjung Riverfront one, what I like is that many blocks are designed to have as many corner units as possible. The exception is block 24C, where for some reason it has quite a lot of corridor units. It's a shame though, because this block is actually facing the water. I also find it interesting that they allocate this space to a preschool because it's actually facing the water. I'm guessing because they want to give the water view to residents of block 25A instead. Anyway, if you want to enjoy the view, there's a rooftop garden on top of the preschool. Next, let's take a look at the Phase 2 of Tanjung Riverfront BTO. Similar to Phase 1, we have quite a lot of units facing the water. However, for Phase 2, I see a red flag. Some of the units at Block 28B will be facing the bin center. Personally, this is a big no-no for me as it impacts your quality of life and also the resale value of the flat later on. So, just watch out if you are lucky enough to get a ballot number in this project. Speaking about ways, according to the HDB website, the Tanjung Riverfront project will have the smart waste system. However, a quick Google search shows that there have been complaints about similar systems in the past when it was implemented in other HDB projects. So the way that this smart waste system works is basically it uses air pressure in an underground pipe network to push and transport your rubbish to the centralized bin center. However, people being people, some just anyhow throw large rubbish until the system chokes. As a result, it becomes smelly. The minister did mention that the smell problem has gotten better after mitigation measures and educating the residents not to throw large trash into the system, but I thought I'd let you know about this for your consideration. Next, let's talk about schooling options. If you look at the map, Dunman High School is obviously located nearby, but I was struggling to find options for primary and secondary school within the 1 kilometer radius or even 2 kilometer radius. According to the HDB website, they mentioned that Bendemeer Primary and Secondary School is nearby, but when I check on the map, Bendemeer Primary School is near Boon Keng MRT station and it's quite a distance to this Tanjung BTO project. Hong Wen School, which is also mentioned as an alternative, is also near Boon Keng MRT and even located further away than Bendemeer School from the Tanjung BTO project. So for parents, the limited schooling option is definitely something that you need to think about, especially if you have young kids. So just to recap, what I like about this project besides the scenic views, it's a short drive to CBD and there are 2 new MRT stations in the area and you might also have less competition for a 3-room flat. Why? Based on past prime projects, the application rate for a 3-room flat specifically is usually low because most families find that the holding period is too long and not suitable if they want to expand their family. Another positive point for this project is that they are offering over 2,000 units for both projects, so you tend to have a higher chance in balloting. On the other hand, for families, you do have to note that there's only one high school nearby. The government will build preschool in the project, but how about primary school and secondary school? That's something for you to think about, especially if you still have young children. Another downside is that although there are 2 new MRT stations, it is still a 1 kilometer distance or 3 bus stops away, so most likely you need to take a feeder bus just to get to the station unless you are keen to take a very long walk. Another thing to consider is that this BTO project will use the smart waste system, which has been reported to have some issues in other projects. I don't necessarily think it's a deal breaker except for units that are directly facing the bin center. Let's discuss the BTO project that most people seem to be very excited about, Holland Vista. Located in Holland Village, this project will offer 342 BTO flats with 2-room flexi and 4-room configurations. The project also includes a preschool, a residence network center, and an active aging center. As this project doesn't have a lot of units but has a strategic location, I predicted that the competition to ballot here will be fierce. Holland Vista is located within walking distance of Holland Village MRT, just next to One Holland Village, 1 stop away from Buona Vista MRT interchange and Star Vista Mall. And it is also 2 stops away from the One North Business Hub. It is also relatively close to NUS and about a 10 minutes drive to Orchard Road. This project is a fantastic option if you want to be well connected, live an active lifestyle, and have everything you need within easy reach. It's been at least a decade since we've last seen a BTO project in this area, so no wonder a lot of people are looking forward to this project. As predicted, this project is offered under the prime location public housing model, so it comes with a 10-year MOP, cannot rent out the whole flat even after MOP, subsidy clawback, and a bunch of other restrictions. By the way, the estimated completion date for this project is starting Q4 2029. In terms of price, a 4-room flat starts at $582,000 excluding grants. For comparison, the transacted price of nearby resale flats is already beyond $1.1 million now. Despite the PLH model restrictions, I think the owners of a 4-room flat here can probably sell the flat after MOP for double the price, especially if they have a high floor unit. Besides, there's not many units in this project, hence the supply will most likely will always be more limited than the demand. Here's an illustration of a 4-room payment plan that the HDB gave. So they said a typical 4-room flat here will cost around $670,000 and buyers with income around $8,400 to $9,800 per month should be able to afford the flat comfortably. Before you complain and say that this is so expensive, again, remember that comparable HDB resale price is already double that, and if you compare it with condo price around the area, it costs more than $2 million already. If you are keen on the 2-room flexi flats, this project also offers 2 types. The main difference is the size. For seniors above 55 years old, you can even opt to buy the flat with a short lease. Note that if you buy a 2-room with a short lease, in the future you can't sell it in the open market. Interestingly, this BTO project is part of the health district at Queenstown, which means they've put a lot of thought into keeping residents active and happy. For example, they are using the natural hills of the area to create walking trails, ramps, and also stairs. So, no matter your fitness level and age, there's always a way to get some exercise built right into your everyday routine. On top of that, they are also adding playgrounds and fitness stations right on the ground floor and even on the rooftop garden. They are also upgrading a nearby park and adding a whole new extension with even more play areas and exercise spots. If that's not enough, there's a rail corridor nearby with even more space to explore and enjoy the outdoors. Basically, you are encouraged to stay active when staying at Holland Vista. Now, let's take a closer look at the site plan. There's not much to talk about because of the limited amount of blocks. But the distance between some units seems to be tight, so you might have a little bit of privacy issue here. Next, let's talk about schooling options. If you look at the map, there are several schools in the 2-kilometer radius, but they are not exactly within walking distance. At least parents with young children still have some options, although not much. One unique thing about this BTO is that it's located relatively near several campuses such as NUS, Singapore Polytechnic, UWC International School, etc. That means you have a good chance of renting out your rooms if you choose to do so. But remember that this project is under prime classification, so technically you are not allowed to rent out the whole unit even after MOP has ended. Let's do a quick recap. What I like about this project is the location is convenient if you are looking for amenities in a mature estate. Now, this might sound strange, but I actually appreciate that this BTO project just comes with conventional features. There's no central aircon, no smart waste system, none of that. It's just your typical BTO. Considering some of the central aircon leaking issues that we've heard in Tengah or the choke smart waste system in Bidadari, sometimes it's good just to have a conventional setup because it's more predictable, For parents, there are some school options for various ages, so that's good. As there are several universities and international schools nearby, it should not be a challenge to rent out rooms if you wish to do so. But on the other hand, what I don't like about this project is that it comes under the PLH model, which means that it has a lot of restrictions like 10-year MOP, cannot rent out the whole unit even after MOP, income ceiling for the next buyer when you try to sell it off, and many more. And because of the area, the price tag is a bit steep for a BTO if you compare it with the non-mature areas, which might be hard for a young family to afford. Another downside is that the flat types here are limited. For example, there's no 5-room flat. But to be fair, that seems to be the trend lately for flats in preferable locations. Let's talk about Tampines Greentopaz BTO. This project is not getting so much buzz, but I personally believe that this project is one of the hidden gems in this BTO launch. Why? Because it's only around 4 minutes walk to Tampines West MRT station and located in a mature estate where you don't have to worry about amenities and school options. If this project was launched later, it would for sure be categorized as a plus project with a 10-year MOP and a bunch of other restrictions. But because it's being launched now, it still has the standard 5-year MOP. In terms of the estimated date of completion, this project is also accelerated as it is aiming to start the key handover in the second quarter of 2028. If we look at the unit mix, Tampines Greentopaz offers 561 units of 2-room flexi, 4 and 5-room flats for you to choose from. Due to the height restrictions, the tallest floor is only level 12 or 13 depending on which block you are looking at. Note that Block 974B will have 24 rental flats, specifically on stacks 681 and 683. Personally, I have no problem with this, but I thought I'd just let you know in case that's part of your consideration. Although amenities are easily accessible from this project, however, it will still have a wide range of built-in facilities including a supermarket, shops, an eating house, a preschool, as well as the standard children's playground and fitness corners. There will also be 2 roof gardens, one on top of the car park and another one on top of the preschool. Residents can also take a short bus ride to Tampines MRT station, which has a few malls, or they can also go to our Tampines hub, which has a library, eateries, and many more. You can also stay active as Bedok Reservoir and Tampines Park Connector are relatively close. In terms of price, a 4-room flat starts at $445,000 excluding grants. For comparison, the transacted price of nearby resale flats is roughly in the range of $700,000 at the moment. I think the entry price is reasonable for a family with average income, and looking at the resale price, although you can't expect a huge windfall, but I'm confident the owners of 4-room and 5-room flats here can still easily profit several $100,000 if they sell their flat after MOP. And what's great is because Tampines Greentopaz is just a standard BTO project, the owners will be able to rent out the whole unit after MOP and not just rent out rooms like those who are locked in the PLH model. So if you don't want to sell the unit, you still have the option just to rent it out. By the way, this project also has a 5-room flat option. So if you need more space, that's good to know. Price for a 5-room flat starts at $589,000 with resale comparison at the $700,000 to $900,000 range. Seems like it's possible to hit $1 million resale flat in this area in the future. Now, let's take a closer look at the site plan. Currently, there are 2 empty plots near the project, but both are marked for future condo development. This is actually a good thing because it can help to increase the overall resale value of the area. Unfortunately, the way that the building was designed is that there are a lot of corridor units. For example, for block 973A, it seems like there are only 2 lifts near stack 601. This means that if your unit is on the other side, you'll have to walk all the way. In fact, all 4 blocks in this project have these long and winding corridors. I understand that the space outside the unit is public space, but the reality is most people have something they want to park outside. It could be a baby stroller, bicycle, plants, etc. You better hope that your neighbor is not a hoarder with this layout. In case you're curious, the rental flat will be located in block 974B, stack 681 and 683, which are closest to the lifts. And according to the site plan, it seems like this block only has these 3 lifts. Next, let's talk about school options. Parents with school-going children can consider nearby schools such as Junyuan Primary School, St. Hilda's Primary and Secondary Schools, as well as the Tampines Primary and Secondary Schools. If you are trusted by God with a special needs child, Pathlight School will open a branch just a few blocks from this project. Let's do a quick recap. What I like about this project is definitely the fact that it is within walking distance to MRT station. And given that it's located in a mature estate, you don't have to worry much about amenities, and also you have a lot of school options. Besides offering 2-room flexi and 4-room flats, this project also have 5-room flats if you want more space. Regarding entry price, I think it's also still reasonable. Also, let's not forget about another positive point that this project still has a 5-year 10-year MOP, whereas if it was launched beyond now, it would have been categorized as a plus project with a 10-year MOP. So you do have a high chance of making a good profit if you want to sell it right after MOP. Or you can just rent out the whole unit after MOP if you wanted to. What I don't like about this project is the long corridor design, where you ended up with so many corridor units. I've seen other projects designed differently to maximize the number of corner units, but unfortunately not this project. The empty plots around this area will mean that in the future, you might hear construction noise for several years, so that's a watch out. Another point, if you are driving, the area near Tampines Central is known for traffic congestion and noise. So, if you are buying a flat here, you might want to avoid the ones facing the main road. Another downside that I can think of is that this project is far from the city center, but it's more of a Tampines problem and not necessarily specific to this BTO. If you notice, I intentionally did not mention about the rental unit as a cons because again, I personally don't think it's a deal breaker, but I understand that other people might have different opinion. Now, let's talk about Chencharu Hills BTO, which is in the Yishun area. If budget is your key concern, this development is the cheapest one among other BTOs launched in the same batch. Looking at the price, a 4-room flat here starts from $279,000 and a 5-room flat starts from just above $400,000, which is very attractive. For comparison, Tanjung BTO 4-room flat price starts from $568,000. Looking at the payment plan illustration, Chencharu Hills is set up in a way so that most families can just pay off the loan from CPF without topping up in cash for monthly installments. Of course, the exact amount will be different from person to person, but you get the idea. The key selling point of this project is affordability. If we look at the unit mix, Chencharu offers more than 1,200 units of 2-room flexi, 3-room, 4-room, and 5-room flats spanning across 10 blocks. The project is actually near the Sembawang Air Base, hence due to height restriction, the tallest floor is only level 14 or 15 depending on which block you are looking at. What's unique about this project is it will be next to a heritage colonial bungalow that the government decided to preserve. In terms of location from the map, Chencharu looks close to Khatib MRT station, but if you really take a look at the map scale, it's actually quite far. Unless you want to walk like around 20 minutes, you'll just have to ride a bus. The land around the project plot is still under development, which is why if you see the map, there is a proposed mixed development with a bus interchange and hawker center, a proposed nursing home, a proposed park, and a proposed place of worship. Notice the keyword here is proposed. For the time being, if you need amenities, you can just take a bus either to Khatib MRT or Yishun MRT, I guess. In terms of schools though, there are several schools nearby in a 1 to 2 kilometer radius, so parents with young children have some alternatives. If you wonder whether the project is near a columbarium, well, that's true. There's a proposed columbarium that will be built a few blocks away, and there's another one that has already been built in the north. So there are 2 columbariums in the vicinity. Personally, it's not a problem for me, but reading some of the comments online, some people have a strong view against it. Potential ghost problems aside, what is already confirmed to be next door though is the Sembawang Air Base. Hence, you can expect a lot of airplane noises here. Looking at the site plan, I'm guessing that the star buys for this project will be those either facing the unblocked greenery or facing the colonial bungalow maybe. On the other hand, stacks I would not recommend are stacks 276, 278 and 280 simply because they are facing the bin center. It's not ideal for your quality of life, and it might get even worse if the smart waste system got choked. So you see, Chencharu Hills BTO will use the smart waste system. However, a quick Google search shows that there have been complaints about similar system in the past when it was implemented in other HDB projects. So, the way that this smart waste system works is basically it uses air pressure in an underground pipe network to push and transport your rubbish to the centralized bin center. However, people being people, some just anyhow throw large rubbish until the system chokes. As a result, it becomes smelly. The minister did mention that the smell problem has gotten a lot better after mitigation measures and educating the residents not to throw large trash into the system. Anyway, I thought I'd just let you know about this for your consideration. Okay, let's do a quick recap. On the positive side, this project clearly wins in terms of affordability. The price starting point is the lowest compared to other BTO projects on the same batch. This project will also offer all flat sizes from 2-room up to 5-room flats, so that's good. And this project will have the standard 5-year MOP, which means you can quickly move on after the MOP. I also like the fact that this project is surrounded by greenery, so you can have nice view from your unit. But on the other hand, the location is far too remote for me. Yishun itself is already quite far from the CBD if you work there. Plus, you need to take a bus to the nearest MRT station, so that's a bit tough. Even if you don't mind the distance, do remember that it will be in the buyer's mind when you want to sell off your flat. Another downside is that the project is near the Sembawang Air Base, so you can expect a lot of airplane noises. On top of that, the presence of several columbariums in the area is something to take note of. Even if it's not a problem for you, it might be a concern for the next buyer. In terms of amenities, the government is planning to build more near the project, but it will take a while. Now, let's talk about Teban Bree's BTO in the Jurong East area. This development offers convenient access to transportation, where the upcoming Pandan Reservoir MRT station is just a 3-minute walk away. Pandan Reservoir MRT is scheduled to be completed in 2028, and this BTO's estimated completion date is starting the 3rd quarter of 2029. So, the timing is just nice. When you are moving in, the MRT station should be ready by then. Although it's far from the city center, but the area is a short train or bus ride away from a lot of malls in the Jurong East area, which gives you a lot of amenities and facilities. With over 1,000 flats ranging from 2-room flexi to 5-room configuration, the project caters to households of various sizes. It's worth noting that the highest floor will be level 37 and 40 depending on the blocks because the location is not in the common airplane path. In terms of price, a 4-room flat here starts from $345,000, while a 5-room flat starts from $465,000. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised with the starting price, but I guess the Jurong East area has a lot to offer, especially once the MRT station is completed. If you are looking for a more affordable option, the Chencharu Hills BTO at Yishun is actually the cheapest one in this batch. If you look at the map, the area itself is honestly quite industrial and can be noisy as it's near the expressway. If you look at the site plan, I would recommend avoiding units that are facing the expressway unless you can get level 20 and above. From personal experience, your choice would be either to close the window, turn on the aircon and pay a higher electricity bill, or just inhale all of the dust and hear the noise almost all the time. It will also bring down the resale value of your flat as well. If you look at it from the bright side, being near an industrial area will also mean it should be easy for you to rent out your room in the future. Renting out the whole unit after MOP is also very much possible because this project is only classified as a standard BTO project. If you have children though, note that there's only one secondary school near the site. The nearest primary school is surprisingly more than 2 kilometers away. From the map, I don't see any upcoming primary school in this area either. Let's recap what are the pros and cons about Teban Bree's BTO. What I like about this project is that it will be within walking distance to an upcoming MRT station. The timing is also just nice. When you collect your keys, the MRT station should be operating already. I also like that you can just take a short train or bus ride to Jurong East amenities. The standard 5-year MOP is also great. You can quickly move on if you want to. And I also like that they provide a good range of flat types from 2-room flexi up to 5-room flats. The downside of this project is that for young families, this project does not have any nearby primary school within the 2-kilometer radius. In terms of vibes, the surrounding area of this project is filled with industries and there's also an expressway nearby, so expect dust and noise levels to be higher in this area. If you work in the CBD area, you can also expect a long commute, but that's more of a Pandan area problem and not specific to this BTO project. Now, let's talk about Marsiling Peak BTO project. This is a mega project that offers more than 1,600 units with various flat sizes up to 5-room flats. Phase 1 will be delivered in the first quarter of 2028 and the second phase will be delivered in the third quarter of 2029. This project is suitable if you are going to Malaysia frequently, as the Woodlands checkpoint is around 1.5 kilometers away. However, note that this project is not near any MRT station, so you will need to take a bus unless you want to walk for like 30 minutes or so. Price-wise, a 4-room flat starts from just above $300,000, while 5-room flat start from just under $450,000. This is one of the affordable options for this BTO launch, although Chencharu Hills at Yishun is still cheaper than the Marsiling Peak project. In terms of schooling options, there are several primary and secondary schools in the area, so it is suitable for a young family. To summarize, what I like about this project is that it's relatively affordable and you can go back and forth easily to JB for shopping. On the other hand, what I don't like about this project is that there's no MRT station within a walkable distance. It will be a very long commute if you work in the CBD area. I'm also anxious about the smart waste system being implemented in this project, as it has caused issues in other projects. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!